Good morning. This is Dr. Don with the LightPoint podcast, coming at you again with a daily LightPoint to kick off the week. I'm really excited about this week because we made it a full week, just remaining consistent with our daily LightPoints. And last week, we really reflected on this premise of moving with intentionality and intentionality around our lives, intentionality just around our own intent to hold ourselves accountable to outcomes. So this week I really wanted to pivot, right? I've learned a lot just over the last week, some great feedback, and we're going to continuously improve our daily light points as well as our official weekly podcast. This week, I'm excited because I will be spending some time in Chicago, aka Chi-Town, as part of the Culture Lab experience, sponsored by Call for Culture. I'm really excited to serve as a facilitator and speaker as part of this awesome event and truly an experience that is unique than any other conference or seminar or workshop that I've taken part in. So I'm excited to be in Chicago and talk about intentionality. I'm moving with intentionality while I'm in Chicago. I have meetings set up mornings, evenings, afternoons, in and around the conference. So just excited to spend some time in Chicago. With that being said, I think this week I'm going to lean into this conversation around mindset, right? I'm still sticking to this foundational alignment to how we want to show up, not just in the marketplace, but in our lives as a leader. And mindset is so essential to this process. So this week, I'm going to try to center my daily light points around mindset, your personal mindset as it relates to this thing that we call leadership. And when I think about mindset, it really starts with our own ownership and understanding of what that our the power in our own shaping of how our day is going to go, how our week is going to go, right? There's significant power of influence we have over the outcomes of our day, right? And even as I think about coming out of last week, I was a bit disappointed because I really wanted my first LightPoint podcast to kick off last week. I had a couple meetings set up. I thought they would be great opportunities, and it didn't pan out, right? And I could have taken the victim mindset that we talked about last week. I could have assumed the mindset that leaned toward my inability as a new podcaster, and I think it was because I was intentional not to allow my mindset to drift from the broader scope of what I'm attempting to do through this podcast. It kept me positive about the outcome because there's so much that we can learn even when we fail, right? So today I want to talk about the mindset of failure, right? And oftentimes we're conditioned through adolescence, through our upbringing, through our educational system, through some of the other systems and infrastructures, even our work experiences, past and present, that failure's not good, right? Because failure becomes a setback. And instead of looking at failure as a setback, what if we looked at failure as a set forward? Right? And I know that sounds silly, set forward. What if we looked at failure as a set forward? In other words, it's positioning us to move forward. Now, moving forward with a greater sense of understanding of what potential barriers we may encounter so that we don't find ourselves failing to execute what we desired or what we set out to execute. So failure equals setting forward. I'm excited about that because I looked at last week. There's some things I can do better around planning for these real-time conversations with fellow leaders around me and in my network and outside of my network, right? So I'm learning from that. This week I intend to leverage my time in Chicago as we navigate some sensitive topics, especially as we talk about this mindset of failure. So as you embark upon your week and you reflect on last week, or even as you encounter failures this week, understand that it's not a setback, it's a set forward. It positions you to move forwardly with grace, understanding, and an awareness around what potential barriers may get in your way. With that being said, thank you for tuning in. Talk to you tomorrow. The LightPoint Podcast. Real leaders, real talk, real time.